Hello everybody. I am currently homeless and sleeping on my mum's couch, but nothing was going to get in the way of my favourite time of year. So, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to the 5th annual Hawktober event covering the extensive world of pro skateboarding video games. From the iconic titles, dumpster dives into obscure mediocrity, and official THPS knockoffs we covered last year in Activision's O2 series, there are still so many pro skater competitors and clones yet to discuss. So finally, allow me to take you on a journey to the most magical place on Earth, the fantastic world of Disney skateboarding games. And what better way to kick this adventure off than with some extremely goofy skateboarding. So grab your 8MB video cards and let's drop in on this PC exclusive. Well, this is certainly a first for Hawktober, sitting down at a computer to play a game. Well, unless you count that copy of Pro Skater HD that I pirated back in 2018. Please don't arrest me. I mean, that game's not even worth pirating, so you know, I should be arresting you for releasing such garbage and making me play it, Activision. Bastards.
It's Disney's extremely goofy skateboarding.
Now, given this is a PC game, the first thing I want to do is inspect the tutorial area. Thankfully, we've got Goofy to help us navigate the menus here. What a helpful little friend. I really wish he'd shut the F up. Hey, it's Disney. We're not allowed to say fuck in front of the children, okay? But seriously, listen to this.
New game. Use the up and down arrows to choose a skateboard to save your game. You want to overwrite the game? Yes. Shred session. Max skates like a pro. Safety first. Setting. Correct. New. Load. Correct. Load settings. Correct. Load settings.
Not that the tutorial is much help as far as figuring out keyboard controls are concerned, because we just watch Goof do the trick with the buttons on screen and then we have to copy him. But of course, these numbers don't represent the actual numbers on the keyboard. No, that'd make too much sense. We need to assign buttons to these different numbers, but I say, fuck all that mess. Grab yourself a modern USB controller, and by cross-referencing what tricks each number represent in the manual, we're actually able to set up full controller support for this, mapped out almost identically to Pro Skater. Now that is rad as hell. Let's play. Jumping into the game now, and the first level is this beachside area. Oh dear. What have I gotten myself into? The state of this first impression. It's abysmal. For starters, what does any good skating level need? Skateable terrain! This is such a ginormous open course with a sparse variety of obstacles spread as far apart as possible, meaning we're not doing any combos here. Goof can barely ride, let alone do fancy combos. The dude looks like me when I ride a skateboard, flailing my arms around screaming, "Help!" We can play as either Goofy or Max. We can dress them up a little, but the only differences between them are purely a cosmetic change. There are no stat points or anything like that present here, and despite mapping the controls to resemble an extremely good skateboarding game, this is still such a mess to navigate. These guys are so heavy, they can barely get off the ground for tricks, but the biggest flaw that ultimately breaks this entire game for me is that we need to press and hold forward to gain momentum. Unlike in Pro Skater, where holding X or the equivalent to gain speed and then releasing to do an ollie, here they are two separate functions. But ultimately, what this results in is the characters taking a dive towards the left or right and ruining your lines. Now, obviously the detail of playing this on an analog controller versus a keyboard brings all of this into question, but still, having to hold forward to even get moving is just gross. Now, as you can probably tell from watching me play this, it looks like a brutal effort, which it is, even though each course is still incredibly easy. We're only given a measly 3 objectives with no time limit that always consist of finding various objects hidden on the map, often in purely effortless, nonsensical locations. This all feels plonked in like baby's first homemade video game. And why are we voluntarily crashing into a cactus? We just slaughtered him in front of his son. The only other objectives are performing basic tricks, which is nothing special, and finally there are the coins scattered all over each map, which only serve the purpose of filling in the void. You can't spend them to buy more outfits or tricks or skateboards, no, they just exist for the fuck of it. By completing 2 of the 3 objectives, a key appears somewhere on the map and finding it opens up the next level. Now, one interesting thing of note is that we can actually transition from one level to the next almost seamlessly within the session, which is pretty neat. Keep in mind, this is about 4 or 5 years prior to American Wasteland, where that was the entire gimmick, not fully realised, but still. I can't even believe that there is some genuine comparisons to be made here. Also, you can even skate underwater in Goofy Skateboarding. Yeah, I'd like to see you try that one, American Wasteland. Motherfucker got gills or something. It's not like there is anything to see down here anyway. And I hope you all know that I'm taking the piss, by the way. This is actually awful. The only thing more awful is when you stop moving and have to get back up off their caved-in faces to start skating again. It's so tedious and slows the pace to an absolute crawl. I can appreciate all 5 frames of the animations on some of these tricks. I particularly enjoy the self-suck grind and some of the others. They clearly tried to inject a little bit of personality into this, but then what about each of the locations? There is no style or flair. Nothing about the visuals here screams Disney. Now compare that to Looney Tunes' signature style, a few PS1 classics come to mind here. Lost in Time, Bugs and Taz and Sheep Raider, my personal favourite. Every level is overflowing with detailed art direction, references to various shorts and iconic locations within the lore. All this has to offer is a generic skate park, a generic town, a generic waterfall, a busted construction site that makes the construction site from 2X look like Skater Heaven, and oh my god, probably the worst level I've ever seen in a skateboarding game, the Big City. A bold statement, sure. I'm looking at you, Tony Hawk's Motion. But just look at this. Empty streets, lifeless structures, countless dead ends, next to no obstacles and unsatisfying secret areas. The fucking state of it. Even the amusement park. Why is it so uninspired? This is a Disney game, for Christ's sake. Where the fuck is Disneyland? Nope. All we get is this grey, dull, foggy shambles of basic roller coaster tracks to grind on. There isn't even any balancing mechanics, so you can literally take your hands off of the controller and watch them go. Look at me. I'm playing extremely goofy skateboarding. Man, what an accurate title. Hang on a minute, I'll be right back. Man, this is fucking riveting. The third area of the game, the desert theme stages though, oh my god, these fucking things shit for the birds. Look at this canyon area, look at it! It's barren, void of design or structure. This is atrocious. Take notes, aspiring game developers. This gets the Disney seal of approval. Next up in the western ghost town, yeah, I can see why everyone abandoned this place. Everything is so cramped in together, which is a stark contrast to everything else. Then moving into the mines, this looks more like an alternate planet space station than a gold mine, and the music here is just generic spaceship3.wav. What about the rest of the music here? It's fine. I've featured the soundtrack in Hawktober since the very beginning, but it's by no means special. In fact, it's often so generic at times that it won't even register in your brain. Just blast some underground soundtrack and you won't feel so sick to your stomach enduring this shit. It's so null for the entire process. Switching over to the time attack mode does increase the pace to some degree now that we're required to actually score some points, link tricks together and hit certain obstacles within that obligatory 2-minute time limit. But it's still too easy. Hell, the time limit can even expire and it doesn't change a thing. You're still able to just roll on through to the next stage. So what is even the point with this? I just don't understand. The fact that this is targeted towards a younger audience is irrelevant. By default, whatever is hip and cool with teenagers and adults is automatically going to attract younger audiences. To what result? Well, if we're talking Grand Theft Auto, probably school shootings and gang warfare. But actual good skateboarding games, kids are much better off with that under their Christmas tree if you ask me. Extremely Goofy Skateboarding was released in September of 2001. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 2X were only a month away. Hell, even Airblade released around the same time, and while I haven't played much of the game for myself, it at least sets itself apart from the competition from the very beginning. Goofy sadly serves no purpose beyond disappointment. Once you've beaten everything, that's it. It just spits you back out into the menus. No pizzazz, no celebration, just a new Soul Session mode, which is just a half pipe. Literally just a half pipe. You thought Chopper Drop was weak? Well, take a look at Soul Session. One cool feature here is that the camera makes you want to vomit. Overall, this game is just drab. There is no better description for it. With the uninspired everything, graphics, gameplay, level design, objectives, and soundtrack, stiff, lanky controls that play like stringy cheese, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean, Jack, and a desperate lack of focus or goals as far as what the developers wanted to achieve here, it's just not good. Why weren't the normal objectives combined with the time attack mode? That way there would have been a lot more going on within sessions, and it may have actually started to feel like a game instead of an interactive wallpaper. Extremely Goofy Skateboarding gets 3 out of 10. Can you believe that this game was developed by Chrome Studios, the same team that would go on to release Ty the Tasmanian Tiger the following year? That is a far more solid game than this could ever dream of being. Well, Ty 1 was solid. I don't know about the rest of them. Of course, I already made a whole thing about that, which you should definitely check out while you wait for tomorrow's Hawktober episode. But until then, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and tell all of your friends that Hawktober 2021 is officially underway. I'm Square-Eyed Jack, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Thanks for watching.